Hello everyone, welcome to the very first development update for DragonClash Digital. My name is Mark Arena and I am the developer of the game. So DragonClash Digital is based on the original tabletop game that I released a few years ago, although it's using a rule set that has been revised and has seen some rebalancing. DragonClash itself is a game of strategic combat between mighty dragons of legend, and the setting is our own modern day world. After centuries of abuse from mankind, Gaia, the dying spirit of Earth, has called out to her last defenders in a desperate plea for life. Those defenders are the dragons, and each is born from the destruction wrought by the human race. Creatures of unparalleled power, dragons are bound to the elemental weaves that make up the earth. And as one of these awakened dragons, you heed Gaia's call and battle others of your kin, hoping to rise to become her champion and reshape the world to your whim. DragonClash Digital is a single-player experience, and today I'm going to walk you through an unscripted playthrough of a basic match. Now what you're seeing is actual gameplay. I haven't rigged anything, so certain cards are drawn or anything like that. This is totally fresh playthrough, and the game is in pre-alpha. So this means there may be some bugs. Some of the artwork is placeholder. For example, these buttons are probably going to change. And there are some missing features. For example, you'll see some of the dragons are grayed out. Basically, the game is still very much in progress, and anything you see may change. Now, the game will start with, we'll have 4 eggs to hatch from. There'll be a red breather, blue adept, a silver channeler, and a brown mauler. Now, there might be other eggs for you to find in the game, but mum's the word. Alright, so we're going to play a mirror match today. It's going to be the red breather versus Korlak, who is also a red breather. Let's hatch and see where we go. So, at the beginning of the game, you draw to see who's first player. That's just done by taking the top card of your deck and comparing the number, which is called the battle value. Whoever has the higher number goes first. In this case, it's us. Before I click on, I will kind of go through some of the cards here. So let's see what we got here. We have a couple flame tongues. This is a pretty good opening hand. Flame Tongue is Red Breather specific. It is a mid-level attack, so we can't learn it quite yet. I'll kind of go over these symbols. So again, we have a battle value of 3 here. This will come into play when we're drawing for certain effects, when we're drawing to see if we hit or if we get hit. This particular attack can only be used in close range, as this symbol means, which you'll see crop up very soon. And we need 2 tactics to actually learn the attack. Let me close it for a second. Look at our actual dragon. So we are, again, we're the red breather. This is our age, currently 1, which is a hatchling. These symbols are, let's say we have the tactics, which is 1, so we cannot learn Flame Tongue, because remember that was a 2. We have our ability, and this determines how many of a particular attack we can have in play at a time. For example, every dragon starts with Claw Attack. It's got 1 instance out currently, and we can't put another instance out unless we age our dragon further. So let's see, we have the melee ability. Certain attacks, for example, the Claw Attack, uses melee to determine who hits, and it uses body to determine if the defender can resist the attack. So these correspond to the different symbols you'll see on your dragon's card, which is melee, magic, breath. And again, those correspond to different attacks, and body, will, and resist, and those are kind of like your defensive skills. I said this was ability, tactics, and finally spirit, and this is how many cards you kind of regain every turn. I say regain because your deck is actually your life. So as you take damage, you'll be discarding cards into your discard pile, and depending on your spirit, you'll be getting those cards back into your deck every turn. All right, enough chatter. Let's play a little bit. So at the end of the setup, we regain essence, but we don't have anything to regain, so there's nothing to put back in our deck. We drew a card, and now we're at select range. You'll remember I was mentioning before that certain attacks can only be used at certain ranges. So again, Claw Attack can only be used in close range. Flame Tongue can only be used in close range, but however, something like Ember Breath is a breath attack, so it can be used in distant or close. No attacks can be used in safe, so if you're in a safe, you're safe. That's kind of self-explanatory. The numbers you're seeing below the different ranges are how many cards it takes to move into that range. This depends on what range you're currently in. So we're currently in close, so it would cost us 0 to stay there. However, if we wanted to move to distant, it would cost us 1 card from our pile. We'd have to discard 1 card from our library, and if we wanted to move to safe, it would cost us 3 cards. We're going to stay in close because that's what our attack uses. Now we're in the use actions phase of the turn. Each time we have 2 actions, and we can do a few things. We can play an attack. Now if I had an ability of 2, I could play another claw attack because I have it in my hand. But you'll see I can't play it because I don't currently have that. I only have a 1. So how we age, how we improve our dragon is we have to hoard cards. We basically put cards per energy into our hoard, and then when we have 2 cards in our hoard, which I will show you now, let's see, what do I want to put in our hoard? I'll actually put this claw attack in because we have all these other attacks here. I have 2 flame tongues, I have 1 ember breath. I'm probably not going to develop claw attack, so I'm going to hoard that. And let's see. So this is where some of the strategy comes in, because determining which cards you kind of want to put into your hoard and potentially lose, and which cards you want to discard, it's a big part of the game. Because the more cards you have, for example, with high battle values in your hand or in play, those cards can't be drawn to determine whether you're hitting somebody. So if you have all your high value cards in play or in your hand, then you're probably going to be drawing low value cards to determine whether you think you hit, which means you'll probably be missing a lot. So I'm going to put 2 heads into my hoard and hope that when I age, I can discard that card back into my library. Alright, so I've done my 2 actions. I've hoarded twice. Now I can attack. So these attacks come in 4 ranks. The rank corresponds largely to the number of instances of the card you have in play. So I have 1 claw attack card in play, so I have a rank 1 attack. There are some gifts and some events that will up your rank above what you have in play. But right now I only have a rank 1, so let's do that. So once we attack, it draws a battle value, which means it draws the top card from the library and compares them. In this case, it was a 5 plus this dragon's body, which is 1, so he got a 6. And for me, it was 2 plus my melee of 1, which is 3. So he had a higher draw that time, which is why I missed. I'll end my phase and end my turn. So he's got nothing to regain. He drew a card. He's going to select his range. He chose to stay in close. Okay, he played an event and a hoarded card. I'll go over that in a second because stuff is going to be flying by. He's going to use his claw attack. Alright, well first let me just show you Gaia's Wisdom. This is an event. An event is a global card, which means it affects both players, typically. But regardless, only 1 event can be played on the board at a time. So he has an event in play. If I play an event, it would wipe out his. He would have to discard his, and then mine would be in play. So sometimes, particularly this one, you want to get rid of Gaia's Wisdom pretty quickly because he's going to get a +1 to all of his attack values, basically, all of his melee, magic, and breath. So no matter what he uses to attack, he's going to get a +1 to his battle value draw. So that's pretty strong. I want to get rid of that as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I don't have any events in my hand. So anyway, so it's waiting for us to determine whether we want to counter his attack. He's attacking with a rank 1 claw attack. I do have a counter in my hand. Defend is a counter. So I can play this card or I can just pass. I can keep the card and just pass and not counter. What this does is it adds +1 to all my defensive ratings, so body, will, and resist. So this is a good card to counteract Gaia's Wisdom. I'll go ahead and play it. Okay, so now it's going to compare. Now he hit us. This is because he drew a 2 Remember, he had the one melee. It's saying 2 now because of it's adding in Gaia's Wisdom. So total he has 2 plus 2 is 4. I had the 1 plus the defend is 2, and again it added that the defend to my value, so it's 2 plus the 1 is 3. So that's a miss. I'm sorry, a hit on his part, and he did 1 damage to that. So you see, I just regained a card that time because I actually had cards in my discard pile. So during the regain essence phase, I regained 1 card. Alright, so I'm going to stay in close range again. Let's age. I'm going to pick this card to keep. When you shed skin, you, or age as I was calling it, that's kind of my old term. Old habits are hard to break. But yeah, in this game it's called shed skin. And that's because you can do certain different things when you're quote-unquote aging. In this case, shedding skin means you keep 1 card, you discard the other card, and you go up 1 age rank. So I'm going to keep Claw Attack because I want to get my 5 battle value card into my discard pile so that I can then regain it and put it back into my library to hopefully draw it later. Alright, so you'll see now my dragon looks a little different. Let's take a look at him. He's now a child. You'll see his tactics went up to 2. So I could now play the second Claw Attack if I wanted to. You see also my melee went up to 2. So your ratings will change depending on what age you are. Alright, let's see what I want to do for my other one. Excuse me. I have a bit of a cold, so you have to excuse me if I coughing periodically. Alright, so I'm not going to use Claw Attack. I'm not going to improve it, rather. I could play it, which would improve my Claw Attack to rank 2, but right now it's free to use, which is unique to Claw Attack. It's kind of a Claw Attack is a general low-level attack for all dragons, but the advantage is that at rank 1 it's free to use. So once I start improving it, it starts costing essence to use, so I'm going to leave it alone for now. And I'm just going to hoard another card. Let's put Fire Breath in my hoard. Okay, so, and that will attack with Claw Attack again, rank 1. Let's see if we can hit. No, we missed again. Okay, we're gonna end the phase. And the turn. He's nothing to regain, he drew a card. Sticking around in close, as expected. Alright, looks like he's gonna age too. Alright, so you saw that even though he discarded Claw Attack, he pulled it back. This is actually a new feature to DragonClash Digital. When you shed your skin, you have the opportunity to recall a attack card that's in your discard pile. If there are none in your discard pile, you don't get to recall one. If there's more than one, you recall the oldest attack. So in this case, even though he just discarded it, he got it back because it was the only Claw Attack was the only attack card in his discard pile. So that's a good way of you constantly, every time you shed skin, getting new attack opportunities or new opportunities to train your dragon. So even if you have a bad hand at the opening, just by shedding your skin throughout the game, you'll have opportunities to pull more attack cards back and then hopefully train them and get your dragon back on track, your development back on track. Alright, so he just attacked. He's going to end this turn. He's got a discard because he had more than 7 cards in his hand. Alright, we're going to stick in close. I'm going to use stun because I can't even use this until I've attacked this at 3. So I'm going to hoard that. I have 2 high value cards in my hand. 6 is better though. So I'm going to keep Fire Breath, shed stun, and hopefully regain that next turn. Put it back in my bottom of my library. Now I am age 3. I'm a young serpent. My tactics is 2, which means next turn, Flame Tongue will be trained. Okay, let's see. You'll see that there's some animations to these cards. You see kind of the horns are dripping. Yeah, they're kind of bursting. These are something I'm working on. I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep them or not, but I thought it was interesting. A little cool, fun little Easter egg for all the different ages. Alright, so what am I doing? I'm attacking. Boy, I cannot hit today. This is missing. Alright, I have too many cards in hand. I'm going to get rid of my Fire Breath because that's, even though it's a really powerful card, I can't use it until my dragon is trained a lot more, and it's, you know, a pretty high value card, so I want it out of my hand and hopefully back into my deck. Corlock regains 1 essence. Draw a card. Okay, sticking around close. Okay, so he just trained his claw attack to 2. Oh, and a tail bash. Alright, so he's going into heavy training mode. Let's see what he's doing. So he's actually using a tail bash, even though he trained his claw attack to 2, he would be able to spend 1 essence to do 2 damage. Tail Bash at rank 1 lets you spend a little bit more essence but do significantly more damage. So it's a higher costing attack, but if you hit, it will really wallop you. And players of the former version of DragonClash will notice these attack values, the damage values, have changed significantly. In general, I found that the original design intention of DragonClash was, let's get everyone up to Elder Worm, which is the highest age, and let them battle it out there. So I really wanted to focus on the actual development of dragons, but that led to a much slower game. People would just be focusing on development, shedding their skin, and not much actual combat. So that what would end up happening is the beginning of the game would be really slow build up, and then everyone would just be kind of racing to get to Elder Worm, and then fight from there, which would lead to these really protracted, longer matches. So I wanted to speed up the game. I wanted to kind of make it more exciting in the beginning and also the mid, and also make Elder Worm not necessarily a given. In fact, Elder Worm is kind of it's hard to get to now, because what will happen is usually you'll kill the other dragon before you get there. So Elder Worm ends up being kind of a special development achievement rather than just a given. Speaking of killing the other dragon, I should probably excuse me, mention how to actually win the game. So what you're trying to do is collect these dragon eggs. So each dragon has 1 dragon egg card in hand to start, and it can be either in your hand or in your hoard, but once it's discarded, you lose. So you want to keep it safe, essentially. How you win is eventually you'll whittle their life total down to the point where they have to start discarding cards from their hand or their hoard, and eventually they will have no more cards to discard except their dragon egg card. Once that's done, they lose and you win, or vice versa if you have to discard your egg. There's also a card called Feast, which forces you to remove cards from your hoard. Cards like Tail Bash, you can force the player to discard cards if you have a particularly highly developed Tail Bash attack. So there are other ways to kind of discard cards before whittling them all the way down to 0. You can actually win the game earlier than that. Okay, so what am I doing? I am going to Jaw Snap, which is a counter. In this case, if he misses, he'll take 5 damage. So this is a pretty strong counter. It can only be used in close range, however. So if he's breathing fire on me, I'm not close enough to Jaw Snap him. And I can only use it if I have a 2 tactics, which I do now. So I'll try it. Okay, so of course he hit. So I will not get to. He hit because let's see. It's a 4, and I'm sorry. And he's got a 3 attack now, probably because he aged, plus the Gaia's Wisdom. So he did hit me, so my counter failed. Alright, well, I get to regain a little essence. My discard pile is getting pretty hefty here. Luckily it's, I got a couple, actually I have quite a few high value cards in my discard pile, so I'd like to get those back into my deck if possible. Alright, So we're going to stay in close. Let's play some Flame Tongues. So I developed once. I'm going to go ahead and develop twice. Like I said, those. Again, I could put 2 into play because I have a 2 ability. And I had 2 turns, or 2 actions rather, in that turn. So let's use it. So now I have, and this is also new to the digital version of the game. Previous versions, you had to kind of, whatever rank you had to use it. But now I'm giving you the opportunity to do an aimed attack. So I can either use it at its natural rank of 2 for 2 essence and 5 damage, or I can get +1 accuracy by dropping down 1 rank. So if I go to 1 and 3, I can get +1 to my battle value pull. In this case, it's still early in the game. Let's actually see what we have here. So I only have a 2 attack. He's got a 1. Okay, so I think I have the advantage. So I'm gonna go ahead and good. So even though we both pulled the same battle value, my melee was higher than his body, so I actually hit. Did a decent amount of damage. Okay. Alright, so he's developing Tail Bash now to rank 2. So I'm potentially going to take 6 damage here. I do. Ooh. I like that card. Alright. I need to age. I need to start pulling some of these attacks out. Alright, we're going to stay in close. I could. Okay, so it's asking me if I want to burst. That's because I have a burst card in my hand. Burst basically allows me to move in the range phase for free. So even though I picked close, I can now burst into distant for free if I wanted to. But yeah, I want to stay in close because Flame Tongue is going to be used in close. So I'll pass. All right, let's see here. Okay, I need to start aging, shedding my skin, so let's see. I'll put in Claw Attack, and I'm gonna keep I'll put in Infernal Breath because that is pretty much the ultimate attack for the Red Breather. It can only be used at 4 tactics, and that's quite a bit of ways. That's basically Elder Worm only. So I'm gonna hoard that because it's a 6, and I want to get it out of my hand and back into my, hopefully my deck. Okay, so I missed because he pulled a 6, unfortunately, so even with my +2, draws go to the defender. Alright, in this case, he picked close. I'm going to actually burst, because what this will do is it will move me into distant, and because both of his attacks are close only, he actually won't be able to attack me this turn. Looks like he just regained, I think it was an Ember Breath when he shed his skin. So yeah, so he had to pass on his attack, which is good. I didn't take any damage. Unfortunately, I'm in distant now, which means if I want to attack, I'm going to have to actually spend an essence and move back into close. So that's kind of a temporary reprieve on my part. Alright, let us shed a skin, hopefully get a card back. Alright, we got Fire Breath back. Let's see, so now I am a Mature Serpent. I'm going to start getting 2 cards back a turn, regaining during the Regain Essence phase, which is good. Alright, let's see. What do I want to do? I'm not going to train Ember Breath, even though I could. Because I already have a mid-level attack, Flame Tongue. I'm going to see if I can get up into an age where I can start training Fire Breath, because that's kind of a more powerful ranged attack. Kind of an end game attack right here. step below Infernal Breath, but it's still insanely powerful. So let's continue to hoard cards and try to age. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Oh, that's right. I'm out of actions. Alright, Flame Tongue. Ah, man. I need to work on my aim, apparently. This is where also stacking your deck. I'm not really doing that too much in this playthrough, but paying attention to what card is on the top of the discard pile is kind of a oh boy. Okay, so now he's got both ranged and melee attacks available to him. I will counter. Good, he missed. So you'll see when I hit end phase, because he missed and because I countered with Jaw Snap, he's going to end up taking 5 damage. Good. So paying attention to what's in your discard pile is important because ideally you don't want to cycle in. You might want to bury low value cards, and you want to cycle back in the high value cards. So if you have a high value card on the top of your discard pile, you might actually want to either use Claw Attack, which is free, or just not attack at all. Keep that card on the top of your discard pile, and hopefully, if the opponent misses, you'll be able to cycle that back into it. It is out of your control somewhat because you don't know what the opponent's going to do. But if you keep burying your good cards, you'll see I have 18 cards on my discard pile. Stun now, the second card, it's just way down at the bottom of my discard pile. The chances that I'm ever going to get this back are slim. So the more that you bury your high value cards, those aren't going to get cycled back into your deck, which means you won't be able to draw them when you're attacking. So there is a little bit of strategy in terms of when to attack, when not to attack, even when to attack the opponent, because if he has a bunch of low value cards on his discard pile, you might not want to damage him and then bury those cards. So there's a little bit of interplay between how you regain or stack your deck rather, and also what cards you play, because cards are in play, like these Ember Breaths, he'll never get back now. That's 2 cards with 4 value that will never be cycled back into his deck. So you have to be careful what you develop too. If you have all your high value cards developed, you're never going to get those back in your library. Alright, we're going to select close. Been holding this feast card, waiting for him to, I don't know if I've just been missing it, or I'm waiting for him to get 2 cards in his hoard so I can feast on it. Hasn't happened yet, or at least I've had other priorities, so I haven't been paying attention to it. Alright, we're going to hoard Ember Breath. We're going to get rid of it, put it back into my discard pile. What are we going to pull out? Alright, so we pulled out a Tail Dash. Okay, we're going to Flame Tongue. Can I hit this? Hey, I hit! It's a miracle. Alright, so we're whittling him down now. He's below half life. This is good. Alright, so he's moved to distant, which means he's probably going to use Ember Breath on us. Good, so he hoarded twice. I can use my Feast card next turn. You'll see that in action. He missed, thankfully. Oh, I aged, so let's take a look. Now, an Elder Serpent. You see, now I can play 3 instances of the card, so if I have another Flame Tongue, I can now play that. I have a rank 3. I gain 2 Essence. Let's see. Alright, so I actually have 2 Claw attacks. It's interesting. Because if I have a rank 3 Claw attack and I hit, I can actually take an extra action, which could speed up my shedding my skin. So it won't do a lot of damage, but it would really speed things up development-wise. So that's a decision. Well, first things first, I have to get into close. I'm going to feast. So what this does is, when I discard it, I remove the target player's hoard. In this case, I'm going to remove Corlox. He has 2 cards, so it'll go into his they'll go into his graveyard essentially, and the graveyard has nothing in it currently. But these cards are out of the game totally. You'll never get these back. So at least red breathers can't get it back. Other breeds might be able to interact with their graveyard a little bit, but not the red breathers. So he is about to lose 2 cards permanently from the game, which is pretty powerful. Now, if one of those was his egg, he would lose immediately. Let's see. So he put a Flame Tongue in, and he put a Claw Attack in. So he's lost a 1 value and a 3 value card. That's not horrible, especially since these are attacks. Now the Claw Attack he could have trained if he was at a high enough age, but he couldn't do it yet, so he must have hoarded it, thinking maybe he'd get it back later, and of course he'll never get it back now. Although he has 1 more in this deck. Alright, so I still have 1 action remaining. I could, if I wanted to, just end the phase and something new to DragonClash Digital. Depending on how many actions you have remaining, if you end phase, you can actually heal yourself. There are cards called heal, where you'll be able to heal more, you'll be able to regain more essence, but you'll be able to regain some essence just by ending the phase with actions remaining. So if you're getting down really low, you might just want to end your phase, not take any actions, and regain some cards. In this case, I do want to age, so I'll put Tailbash in. I'm not really developing that card. Alright, let's do Flame Tongue. And we hit. We hit. Alright. And alright, we're getting down. We're getting them down pretty low now. I'm feeling pretty strong about our chances. Especially after that feasting, I sort of slowed them down. Basically, it's a 2-for-1 action exchange. Alright, he just shelled me though. So he just did 3 damage with his rank 2 Ember Breath. If I can get up to... Let's see, if I can get up to the next age, I think I'll be able to start training Fire Breath, which would really turn the tide in our favor. So let's get rid of, let's see, Double Jaws +1 breath rating should help once I train Fire Breath. It doesn't do anything right now. I'm actually going to stick, you know what, I'm going to train Claw Attack up. Let's train it up. Alright, so now it's rank 3. It's no longer free, but if I hit with it, I'll get to use another action, which means I can then hoard another card, so let's try it. I'm not doing a lot of damage with it, but if I can hit, which I can't, of course, because he keeps drawing these high battle value cards. He's doing a better job of stacking his deck than I am. Alright. But we're still got a pretty significant edge, life-wise. He's got 13 cards, I have 22. Alright. And we're ahead with our aging. Okay, so I am in distant. I have a counter here that can be used in distant or in close, so I'll go ahead and play that. I'd rather not take any damage. Now, basically what that card does is it draws battle value. Just hit me, of course. Draws battle value. If it's a 1 or a 2, the attack misses. I think it was a 5, so then it just draws battle value normally. That counter failed. Alright, so he hit me, lovely. Now we're getting a little closer, getting a little counter. Alright, I'm gonna move close. I'm going to go ahead and hoard that. I'll keep it, shed Tail Bash. I'm going to get pulled back. I've got a different Tail Bash pulled back. I have no actions remaining. However, if I hit with this Claw Attack... Yes, good. So now I have a 3 tactics. I can start training Fire Breath. If I hit with this Claw Attack... Oh, he's countering me with a Jaw Snap, so if I miss, I'm going to take a chunk of damage. Luckily, I hit. Excellent. So, now I will get a bonus action. I will go ahead and play Fire Breath, which should be so for 3 essence at rank 1, I can do 7 damage. So you'll see it, and it quickly scales up. This is good. So even at rank 2, I'm Flame Tongue, I'm not doing that kind of damage. So. Alright, he's bursting into distant, which is fine because now we have a ranged attack too. We can just stay in distant range and just blast each other with breath attacks, which red breathers like to do. He's taking a chance. He's getting real low. I'm going to go ahead and counter. See if I pull a 1 or 2. I did not. I could have used that. He still missed, which is good. I'm gaining 3 essence now because of my age. Alright, I'm going to stand distant. I'm going to play Double Jaw because that gives me +1 breath rating, and Flame Breath uses the breath attack ability, attack rating. So it's kind of like having a Gaia's Wisdom, but it only applies to breath attacks. It's a gift. Gifts, I don't think I've talked about gifts yet, but each dragon can have 1 gift in play. There's also a rend gift card, so that's how you get rid of your opponent's gift or your own if you don't want it anymore. There are some gifts that have both advantages and disadvantages built in, so maybe you don't want the disadvantage of that gift any longer, and you can get rid of it. Alright, we're gonna hoard Tail Bash. We will use Fire Breath. Let's rock. Oh, okay. He's using a counter to up his defense. He didn't even need it. If I had hit with that card, it would have done 7 damage. He only has 4 in his deck, so I would have cleared out his deck, and he would have had to discard cards from his hand. So we're getting towards the end game here now. We're still in the lead. I think we have a pretty healthy advantage. Alright, he's hoarding. We're gonna do another feast, and that's really gonna. That will probably really turn the corner for us, because that's gonna slow him down significantly. He did hit me though, so now I'm down to 5. This is getting close. We really need to hit. This would be an opportunity. If I had a 2 ranked Fire Breath, I'd probably do an aim strike. But I can't do an aim strike if I only have a rank 1 because there's no rank 0 attack. Alright, so I'm gonna spend 3. I'm okay. We're okay. We're gonna feast. Let's see what we get rid of. So now he's got a Flame Tongue, Claw Attack. Oh, good. We got rid of a 6. Alright. I guess a Horde. Alright, that's dangerous because now I only have 1 card in my hand. So if he had a 3 rank Tail Bash and picked hand, it's either he can make me discard a card from hand or Horde. If he guessed correctly that I had my dragon in my egg in my hand, I could discard that and lose the game immediately. So I'm taking a bit of a gamble. He doesn't have a rank 3 Tail Bash, and he's pretty much focused on Ember Breath right now, so I think it's okay. However, we'll see what happens. If I get too low here, I might have to start discarding cards, and we're getting into the end game. Someone's going to lose very quickly. Let's hope it's not us. Boom, we won. All right, so we hit, and what happened was he didn't have enough cards in his hand or his library to cover the damage, so he lost immediately. He had to discard his egg, and so we won. We have claimed a dragon egg, but new rivals await, so we could play again. But that's it for this development update. Hope you enjoyed seeing the playthrough. Kind of covered a lot. Some of it might have been confusing. I'll kind of go over game concepts and mechanics more in future videos. So it's kind of covering a pretty general overview of the game. But we did get to look at some of the cards, talked about some of the abilities, and I hope you will join us. You can catch any updates on the game, development updates, new videos, etc. on our various social media channels, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Hope you'll join us there. And if you like this video, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up. We'll help out spread the word. And thanks again, everyone. See you in the next video.